This new wearable
This
tech
new
is closing
wearable
the
tech
gap
is
between
closing the
humans and
gap between
cyborgs.
humans and cyborgs.
A professor
A
at the
professor at
University
the
of
University
Chicago
of
believes
Chicago
he is
believes
on his
he is on
way
his
to
way to
creating a
creating a
wearable foreign
wearable for
market that
market
will
and
manipulate
will
your
manipulate
muscles
your
with
muscles
electrical
with
impulses
electrical
to cause you
impulses
to
to
move
cause you to move
involuntarily so you can perform
involuntarily
a
so you
physical
can perform
task
a
you
physical
otherwise
task you
didn't know
otherwise
how to
didn't know
do,
how
like
to
playing
do,
a musical
like
instrument
playing a
or
musical
operating
instrument or
machinery.
operating machinery.
Dr. Pedro
Dr. Pedro
Lopez, who
Lopez,
heads the
who has
Human
the
Computer
Human
Integration
Computer
Lab at the
Integration Lab
university,
at the
is all
university,
about
is all
integrating
about
humans and
integrating humans
computers,
and
closing the
computers,
gap
closing the
between
gap
human and
between
machine.
humans and machine.
His team,
His
which
team, which
focuses on
focuses on
engineering the next
engineering the
generation
next
of
generation
wearable
of
and
wearable
haptic
and haptic
devices, is
devices,
exploring
is
the endless
exploring the endless
possibilities of
possibility of
wearables
wearable
could
could
intentionally
intentionally
share
share
parts of our
parts of
body
our
for
body
input and
for
output,
input and
allowing
output, allowing
computers to be more
computers to be
directly
more
interwoven
directly
in our
interwoven
bodily
in our
senses
bodily
and
senses and
actuators.
actuators.
Lopez's
Lopez's
vision, a
vision,
wearable
a wearable
EMS
EMS
device that would
device
look
that
like a
would look like
sleeve
a
and be
sleeve
able to
and be
send
able to
electrical
send electrical
impulses in the right
impulses in the
timing
right
and in the
timing
right
and in the
fashion to
right
make a
fashion to
user's
make a
muscles
user
move
muscles move
involuntarily
involuntarily
to perform
to
a
perform
physical
a physical
task.
task.
EMS stands
EMS
for
stands for
electrical muscle
electrical muscle
stimulation.
stimulation.
Think training
Think
people
training
to
people to
operate
operate
tools they are
tools
not
they are
familiar
not
with, he
familiar with,
said,
he said,
or speeding up a
speeding
user's
up a
reaction
user
time to
reaction
train
time to
someone
train
to have
someone to
better
have a better
reflexes.
reflexes.
According to Dr.
According to Dr.
Lopez, by
Lopez,
speeding
by
up a
speeding
user's
up a
muscle
user muscle
stimulation, they
stimulation,
could, for
he could,
instance,
for
have
instance,
superhuman
have
reflexes
superhuman
and be so
reflexes and be
fast that
so
they could
fast
take a
that they
picture of a
could take a
flying
picture of
baseball.
flying baseball.
The technology could
The
also teach
technology can
people to
also
play
tell
musical
people to play
instruments,
musical
use
instruments,
tools,
use
and
tools,
operate
and operate
machinery, for example.
machinery, for example.
This new wearable
This new
tech is
wear
closing
attack
the
is
gap between
closing the
humans
gap
and
between humans
cyborgs.
and cyborgs.
A
A
professor at the
professor at
University
the
of
University
Chicago
of
believes
Chicago
he is on
believes
his
he is
way
on his
to
way to
creating a
creating a
wearable foreign
wearable for
market that
market
will
that
manipulate
will
your muscles
manipulate your
with
muscles
electrical
with
impulses
electrical
to cause you
impulses
to
to
move
cause you to
involuntarily so
move
you can perform a
involuntarily so you
physical
can perform
task you
physical
otherwise
tasks
didn't
you
know how
otherwise
to
didn't know
do,
how
like
to
playing a
do,
musical
like playing
instrument
a musical
or operating
instrument or
machinery.
operating machinery.
Dr. Pedro
Dr. Pedro
Lopez, who
Lopez,
heads the
who
Human
has the
Computer
Human
Integration
Computer
Lab at the
Integration Lab at
university,
the
is
university,
all about
is all
integrating
about
humans and
integrating
computers,
humans and
closing the
computers,
gap between
closing the
human and
gap between
machine.
humans and machine.
His team,
His
which
team,
focuses
which
on
focuses
engineering the
on
next
engineering the
generation
next
of wearable
generation
and
of wearable
haptic
and haptic
devices, is
devices,
exploring the
is
endless
exploring the
possibilities
endless
of
possibilities
wearables
of
could
wearables could
intentionally share
intentionally
parts of our
share parts
body
of
for
our
input
bodies
and
for
output,
input and
allowing
output,
computers to
allowing
be more
computers to be
directly
more directly
interwoven in our
interwoven
bodily
in our
senses and
bodily senses and
actuators.
actuators.
Lopez's vision,
Lopez's
a
vision, a
wearable
wearable
EMS
EMS
device that would
device
look like
that
a
would look
sleeve
like a
and be
sleeve
able to
and be
send
able to send
electrical
electrical
impulses in the right
impulses in the
timing
right
and in the
timing
right
and in the
fashion to
right
make a
fashion to
user's
make
muscles
users'
move
muscles move
involuntarily
involuntarily
to perform
to
a
perform
physical
a
task.
physical.
EMS
What's
stands
EMS
for
stands
electrical
for the
muscle
electrical
stimulation.
music
Think
stimulation.
training people to
Think training
operate
people to
tools they are
operate
not familiar
tools
with,
they are
he
not
said,
familiar with, he
or speeding
said,
up a
or
user's
speeding
reaction
up a
time to
user's
train
reaction
someone to
time to
have
train
better
someone to have
reflexes.
better reflexes.
According to Dr.
According to
Lopez,
Dr.
by
Lopez,
speeding up
by
a user's
speeding up a
muscle
user muscle
stimulation, they
stimulation,
could,
they
for
could,
instance,
for
have
instance,
superhuman
have
reflexes
superhuman
and be so
reflexes and
fast that
so
they could
fast
take a
that
picture
could
of
take
a
a picture
flying
of
baseball.
flying baseball.
The technology could
The
also
technology
teach
can
people to
also
play
teach people to
musical
play
instruments,
musical
use
instruments,
tools,
use
and
tools,
operate
and
machinery,
operate
for example.
machinery, for example. The word manipulate in the first paragraph can be best replaced by control, influence, improve. 根据上下文可是 manipulate 指的是操纵、控制，所以选项 A 最合适。Control。The technology can also teach people to play musical instruments, use tools, and operate machinery. For example, machinery 机器的集合名词 Machines as a group, especially large ones. Machine 名词 According to Dr. Lopez, by speeding up a user's muscle stimulation, they could, for instance, have superhuman reflexes and be so fast that they could take a picture of a flying baseball. 句子的主干是 they could have superman reflexes and be so fast 句子的开头 according to 和 by speeding up 都是前置状语，而主谓之间又插入了 for instance 这个状语应该在句首。They could be Superman reflexes and be so fast 句子开头的 according to 和 by speeding up 都是状语前置，而主谓之间又插入了 for instance 这个状语应该在句首。Thinking training people to operate tools they are not familiar with, he said, or speeding up a user's reaction time to train someone to have better reflexes. An action or a movement of your body that happens naturally in response to something that you cannot control, something that you do without thinking. Thinking training people to operate tools they are not familiar with, he said, or speeding up a user's reaction time to train someone to have better reflexes. 这句话乍一看仿佛祈使句，这其实主句后是后面的 he said， 所谓祈使句是 said 后面的宾语从句是 he 让读者去思考，而 all 并列的是 think 后面的 training。这句话乍一看仿佛祈使句，其实主句是后面的 he said， 所谓祈使句是 said 后面的宾语从句是 he 让读者去思考，而 all 并列的是 think 后边的 training。Stimulate 刺激 stimulus stimulate 刺激物。Stand for 意味着 stand for represent means Lopez vision a wearable EMS device that would look like a sleeve and be able to send electrical impulses in the right timing and in the right fashion to make a user's muscles move involuntarily to perform a physical task. EMS stands for electrical muscle stimulation. Lopez vision a wearable EMS device that would look like a sleeve and be able to send electrical impulses in the right timing and in the right fashion to make users' muscles move involuntarily to perform a physical task. His team, which focuses on engineering the next generation of wearable and haptic devices, is exploring the endless possibilities. If wearable could intentionally share parts of our body for input and output, allowing computers to be more directly interwoven in our bodily senses and actuators. 这两句的难点都是插入部分比较常见的主谓之间的位置。功能在解释说明后一句要注意的是 if 作为是否将引导的从句是 possibility 的同位语从句，解释说明怎样的 possibility， 后面的 allow 主语是 variables。His team, which focuses on engineering the next generation of wearable and haptic devices, is exploring the endless possibilities. If wearable could intentionally share parts of our body for input and output, allowing computers to be more directly involved in our bodily sense and actuators. Actuators 执行器 valve wave interwave 交织 wave together either mix or blend interwave fiber interwave plot interwave music focus on haptic haptic 对应的 pay attention to, concentrate on. His team, which focuses on engineering the next generation of wearable and haptic devices, is exploring the endless possibilities if wearables could intentionally share parts of our body for input and output, allowing computers to be more directly interwoven in our bodily senses and actuators. Integrate 集成 to unite in knot. Tag tact integrate 集成 integrated circuits integrated writing. Dr. Pedro Lopez, who has the Human Computer Integration Lab at the university, is all about integrating humans and computers, closing the gap between human and machine. A professor at the University of Chicago believes he is on his way to creating a wearable for market that will manipulate your muscles with electrical pulses to cause you to move involuntarily so you can perform a physical task you otherwise didn't know how to do, like playing a musical instrument or operating machinery. 宾语从句，从句的主干部分是 He creates a wearable. 后面的 for market 是目的状语，在后面是定语从句，说明 wearable 的功能。为短语引导出的方式，后面 to do 的结果让你的肌肉动起来。然后是 so 再引导一个结果状语从句，但是这个状语从句中又包含了一个省略先行词的 that 从句。先行词指示的 task 在从句中做 do 最后的宾语。Otherwise 在另一种情况下 under different circumstances be on one's way perform a task. Otherwise breathing and circulation are involuntary processes. 自愿的 自然而然的不假思索的 impulse is devil impulse manipulate 操纵 manipulate the baby is learning to manipulate blocks. The mechanical arms are manipulated by computer. A professor at the University of Chicago believes he is on his way to creating a wearable for market that will manipulate your muscles with electrical impulses to cause you to move involuntarily so you can perform a physical task you otherwise didn't know how to do, like playing a musical instrument or operating machinery. Cyborg, this new wearable tag is closing the gap between humans and cyborg 半机械人 cyberpunk cybercrime.
This new wearable tech is closing the gap between humans and cyborgs. A professor at the University of Chicago believes he is on his way to creating a wearable for a market that will manipulate your muscles with electrical impulses to cause you to move involuntarily so you can perform a physical task you otherwise didn't know how to do, like playing a musical instrument or operating machinery. Dr. Pedro Lopez, who heads the Human Computer Integration Lab at the University, is all about integrating humans and computers, closing the gap between human and machine. His team, which focuses on engineering the next generation of wearable and haptic devices, is exploring the endless possibilities of wearables could intentionally share parts of our body for input and output, allowing computers to be more directly interwoven in our bodily senses and actuators. Lopez's vision, a wearable EMS device that would look like a sleeve and be able to send electrical impulses in the right timing and in the right fashion to make a user's muscles move involuntarily to perform a physical task. EMS stands for electrical muscle stimulation. Think training people to operate tools they are not familiar with, he said, or speeding up a user's reaction time to train someone to have better reflexes. According to Dr. Lopez, by speeding up a user's muscle stimulation, they could, for instance, have superhuman reflexes and be so fast that they could take a picture of a flying baseball. The technology could also teach people to play musical instruments, use tools, and operate machinery,
for example.
Holiday spending expected to rise 5%, but don't expect bigger crowds at the mall. Here's why. It may only be October, but the December holiday shopping rush is just around the corner. Around 50% of consumers have already started looking for items on their friends' and families' wish lists, according to a new online survey from the Harris Poll and OpenX, an ad exchange network that polled 2,000 shoppers in August. The holidays are a critical time for many brands. Sales during this time of year can make up 30% of a retailer's annual revenue. Heading into the gift-giving season, shoppers are expected to spend 5% more this year than they did last year, according to the survey. What we found should be encouraging to retail marketers trying to drive action this holiday season, said Tim Cadogan, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer for OpenX. Consumers are optimistic about the future of the economy, and their optimism will fuel increased spending. However, while consumers plan to spend more this year, they also plan to spend their money differently than last year. Cadogan's team expects 53% of all holiday shopping to be done digitally. In fact, around 20% of purchases are expected to happen on mobile devices, driven predominantly by millennial shoppers, with more than half of holiday shoppers reporting that they spend more than 3 hours a day on their mobile devices. It's no wonder their shopping habits are shifting. One-click ordering and mobile-friendly retail sales and apps have made purchasing anything from dishes to swimsuits incredibly easy. This growing shift could even impact how consumers purchase items on big shopping holidays like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. On Black Friday, traditionally a day for brick and mortar, the number of consumers planning to shop online versus in-store is almost identical, the report said. Holiday spending expected to rise 5%, but don't expect bigger crowds at the mall. Here's why. It may only be October, but the December holiday shopping rush is just around the corner. Around 50% of consumers have already started looking for items on their friends' and families' wish lists, according to a new online survey from the Harris Poll and OpenX, an ad exchange network that polled 2,000 shoppers in August. The holidays are a critical time for many brands. Sales during this time of year can make up 30% of a retailer's annual revenue. Heading into the gift-giving season, shoppers are expected to spend 5% more this year than they did last year, according to the survey. What we found should be encouraging to retail marketers trying to drive action this holiday season, said Tim Cadogan, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer for OpenX. Consumers are optimistic about the future of the economy, and their optimism will fuel increased spending. However, while consumers plan to spend more this year, they also plan to spend their money differently than last year. Cadogan's team expects 53% of all holiday shopping to be done digitally. In fact, around 20% of purchases are expected to happen on mobile devices, driven predominantly by millennial shoppers, with more than half of holiday shoppers reporting that they spend more than 3 hours a day on their mobile devices. It's no wonder their shopping habits are shifting. One-click ordering and mobile-friendly retail sales and apps have made purchasing anything from dishes to swimsuits incredibly easy. This growing shift could even impact how consumers purchase items on big shopping holidays like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. On Black Friday, traditionally a day for brick and mortar, the number of consumers planning to shop online versus in-store is almost identical, the report said.
China denies flexing muscles in military parade. Beijing denied last Tuesday that a huge military parade planned for China's 70th anniversary was a sign of the country flexing its muscles. The country is ramping up preparations for a week's holiday from October 1, marking the day the Chinese Communist Party seized control and established the People's Republic of China. At a press conference in Beijing, a defense ministry spokesman unveiled more details about the upcoming parade and said that the strength of the Chinese military was a chance to provide more positive energy for world peace. Tuesday's military procession through the center of the capital will last 80 minutes and showcase the Army's most advanced weaponry. If the Chinese Army displays weapons and equipment, then it is flexing its muscles. But if it doesn't display them, then it is opaque, said Senior Colonel Wu Qian, defense spokesman. In the past 70 years, the development and growth of the Chinese military has been obvious to all. We have neither intentions nor the need to flex our muscles through military parades. Around 15,000 members of the armed forces will march in the display, which will showcase around 580 pieces of military hardware, all domestically made. There will also be an anniversary show on Beijing's Tiananmen Square. China denies flexing muscles in military parade. Beijing denied last Tuesday that a huge military parade planned for China's 70th anniversary was a sign of the country flexing its muscles. The country is ramping up preparations for a week's holiday from October 1, marking the day the Chinese Communist Party seized control and established the People's Republic of China. At a press conference in Beijing, a defense ministry spokesman unveiled more details about the upcoming parade and said that the strength of the Chinese military was a chance to provide more positive energy for world peace. Tuesday's military procession through the center of the capital will last 80 minutes and showcase the Army's most advanced weaponry. If the Chinese Army displays weapons and equipment, then it is flexing its muscles. But if it doesn't display them, then it is opaque, said Senior Colonel Wu Qian, defense spokesman. In the past 70 years, the development and growth of the Chinese military has been obvious to all. We have neither intentions nor the need to flex our muscles through military parades. Around 15,000 members of the armed forces will march in the display, which will showcase around 580 pieces of military hardware, all domestically made. There will also be an anniversary show on Beijing's Tiananmen Square. One in five college students are parents. Schools could be doing more to help them. Bronson Foster's 8-year-old son wondered why his mother was still in school. He said, "Why couldn't you just finish school before you had me?" said Foster, now 48. It's hard for a little kid to understand why you can't be around more often. Yet he was one of the main reasons she was, at nearly 40 years old, back in the classroom. After the single mother was laid off from her job during the Great Recession, her path forward was a giant question mark. She had dropped out of college years before, and so, in 2009, she enrolled at the University of Washington to become a speech-language pathologist. She rode buses and ferries for hours each day to commute from their house in Kitsap County to the University of Washington so that she wouldn't have to relocate her son. "I wanted to keep things as stable as I could for him," Foster said. Today, more than 1 in 5 undergraduate students are parents. Yet colleges aren't doing enough to ease these students' financial burdens, according to a report by the Government Accountability Office. The U.S. Department of Education has a program designed to provide support to low-income mothers and fathers pursuing their bachelor's degrees through child care support and funding. Under that program, students student parents could also be eligible for federal loans to help pay for their child care expenses by asking their colleges to include an allowance for dependent care expenses in their financial aid calculations. However, colleges don't always adequately publicize this information, the GAO found. 2/3 of the college websites the watchdog group reviewed made no mention of the option.